I thought I'll stop by really briefly today. It's as if you don't know, October is not only Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October is also Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month around the world. And so today, I just wanted to come on and just talk a little bit about it. What most of you may not know is I started my business 8 years ago as a domestic violence supportive services for professional women and families. And I got into this business early on because I'm also a survivor, right? And so I wanted to start my business for professional women because I knew many of us are very private, and I wanted to be an option outside of a charity. Charities are amazing, but many of you understand what I mean when I say that. I was that person as well. And so when I started my business 8 years ago, it's under construction. I worked with many professional women, children, families, and friends to kind of try to help them to understand, one, why their loved one was probably in that relationship after recognizing that they are being abused. And so I did a lot of that work. I still do. And what's kind of unfortunate for me this month is I've had in the past 2 weeks, I've had numerous conversations, calls around women still being abused. And we know it hasn't stopped, absolutely not. But I still get those calls as a private service because many people know in my hometown in Bermuda, this is what I do and this is how I started my business. And although I've now branched off and expanded my services in another capacity, I am still here for specific situations, right? And so today I just really wanted to talk about what that looks like. Now, the internet is filled with emotional, physical, psychological, narcissistic people. I mean, it's just happening. The conversation's going on and on and on because these are realities. So I'm not going to come here and tell you or break down what their signs look like because many of you are aware and are experiencing it. And the internet is very vast in what that looks like. What I want to talk about is I must back up. One of the things that I do and I keep abreast with is I'm formally trained to work with victims of domestic violence, advocate for them and their families. So I'm formally trained in that as well. So one of the reasons why I want to talk about that today before the month ends, right, is because I one of the things I'm finding more so now, which I'm really proud of many of you for, is that many of you are now reporting. You may not be pressing charges, but you're reporting it. And so celebrate yourselves for that. Because over the years, that was the hardest thing, to get people to just report it or just tell someone, fear of embarrassment or fear of further making their partner really irate. So now we have tons and tons of people reporting, speaking up and just talking about it, even if they're still in that relationship. And so today I just wanted to talk about the importance of reporting. And, you know, in some instances, I often used to tell my clients over the years that what happens if you don't survive and there's no proof of any such abuse, right? And your partner gets off, right? That's that. But what happens if you become a vegetable or really, really in bad shape in the hospital, burned or something broken, or you can't see or you can't hear or anything that's any form of a physical abuse, right? That you're hospitalized and you have family or friends that know what's going on and really overreact. Not saying that's right, but what happens if that happens? What happens, God forbid, what happens if you fight back and something happens to that person, that as far as them losing their life, and there's no proof of you being in an abusive relationship, what's going to happen? You or your family member is probably going to do jail time, right? But more so, there's not going to be any proof of why you probably fought back, or why a family member fought back or tried to save you because this person was beating you terribly. And although I work with female victims, I also have worked with men. I work with men now, but I also have worked with men in the prison system as it relates to abuse, right? And probation and so forth. So today I really want to just commend you, all of you who's reporting. I'm happy about that. But the other thing is, you know what? I'm hearing more talk about it. You're opening up more. People that's talking to me now, they're opening up and just sharing, But you know what I want to share? I'm finding that many of you feel obligated to raise these men. Whether they grew up with childhood trauma, whether they were abandoned, no matter what it is. I find that many have said, females, Tina, I feel so horrible because everybody abandoned them. Or he wasn't raised with his parents. Or they were alcoholics or drug addicts, or he got kicked out of school, he doesn't have any form of education, or he's mentally unstable because of whatever the reasons are. There are so many reasons, or he had a really, really bad accident that caused him to be injured, right? Where it's mentally messing with him. I want to share with you that it's not your fault. There's not a thing wrong with being empathetic, showing compassion for other people. But I want to share this with you. I want you to have it for yourself. I find that many of us, myself being a survivor many years ago, we do more of the expectation of what it can be if only we support them through it. If only they get help, we can be so much better. He wasn't always, or she wasn't always like this. It's only when they drink. It's only when they get stressed out. They lost their job. Their ex took the children from them. Their ex is asking for more child support. And to be honest, Tina, they're only making $10 and she's asking for 20. It's the various excuses I hear, but you know what I want to leave you with today? I want you to turn all of that around and point it at you. Be empathetic for yourself. Be compassionate for yourself, and know that you deserve far greater. And there is not a thing wrong with having expectations or empathy and compassion for someone you love. But I often say they are not your responsibility, because just as much as you are believing and having faith that if you just hang in there a little longer, or if they go get help, they could be amazing. If they aren't doing it, you're fighting a lost cause. And God forbid something happened really, really bad to you, right? Because of you being so empathetic and compassionate. So today I just want to share that, no, it's not your fault why you remain in these relationships. But I know it's a lot of, like me in the past, is a lot of empathy and compassion and the need to want to help, support. I can't leave now because nobody else has them, has their back. They have no one. How can I kick him out? He or she has no one. Well, the reality is sometimes, having come from a criminal justice background and working in the prison systems and probation, sometimes you have to allow someone to fall so that they can pick themselves up or get the necessary support outside of you to help them up. A lot of those individuals are even better today than they were when they went in jail, or when they went on probation, or even before they even went got therapy. They are so much better for it today. They feel more in control of who they are. They're more respected. They respect themselves more, leaving out respecting you, right? And so I just wanted to share that today. Domestic Violence Awareness Month is until the end of October. And yeah, it's so many people are heavy, before getting online just now, I actually had a conversation with someone who's struggling, doing everything in their power to support their partner. And it just keeps falling on deaf ear. You know, they come home, they're breaking up the house, or they're calling every name in the book, or they're showing up at their job and just totally disrespecting them. And their job is aware of all of this, but at the end of the day, and they're not firing them, they don't want to get rid of them, but at the end of the day, it has to be you to make that decision, right? And so you have to make that decision. And there's so much support around the world for domestic violence. You know, I've worked overseas. That's where I got my formal training. And I remember working in the United States. I'm not going to say where. I've worked in 2 establishments in the United States. And they have so much support. I mean, so much so that if you want to flee, you can flee to a totally different country. There's the support for you. You just have to be serious enough to do it. You'll thank me for it later. I worked in these 2 establishments, and oh my goodness, I learned a wealth of information. This is when I was getting my degree. But it was amazing to see the support that the services that was available, and how anonymously they operated. And if you're in Bermuda, we have those charities. I've also worked as a volunteer for a while, a little short, brief time at Center Against Abuse. And they too have those necessary supportive services if you need. And if you're really, really, really serious about it, and if you're in really great danger, they have the necessary steps to take and those resources to connect you to whatever's next for your safety. So please, please, please think of your safety. Think of the children. Just think of what God has so much more for you to do, right? And you've just been bogged down. Just think of how many times have you thought about you wanted to do something different and you haven't done it. Because every time you attempt to do something for yourself, your partner, whether he or she, does something and it just sets you back. How much further would you like to be by the end of this year? But the relationship you're in, even for those of you who are in those relationships where he or she only acts abusive or has abusive tendencies, when they drink, smoke, do drugs, get stressed out at work, those type of, or is triggered by something from childhood. How many of you? And so they could do really, really good for a week to even a month sometimes, even 2 months. And then all of a sudden they're triggered. The first thing you say is, I feel so bad. If only that didn't happen to them, because when that doesn't happen, they are amazing. Well, the entire picture is, I want you to think about all of the times that they did abuse you. And everything's not physical abuse, and we know that, right? There's emotional abuse, and so many of us have suffered with it all. So you know, and the other thing is, you know, all of you who's out there battling, because I have a lot of men and women that follow me, if you think it's okay to continue to hurt your partner and not go get help, you're like that for a reason as well. What happened that you feel the need that it's okay to physically or emotionally or financially or spiritually, or you just abuse someone that you say you love. You don't love them. And the unfortunate thing is, you love them. You probably love them at the level of which you know how to love. But if you really, really, really care about them and or yourself, go get help. Go get help, you know? Anyway, I just wanted to jump on really, really briefly and share that with you guys, because, wow. You know, I had somebody 2 weeks ago. I mean, well, you know, I can't even really say what it is, but you know, when you are abusing your partner that much that they have to take off time from work, or have to see a doctor for various things, or on medication because of this abuse, as a result of, you have a problem and you need to go get help, right? Same thing for you. And stop with the excuses. You're grown. It now becomes your responsibility Nobody else's. It's not his or her responsibility. When you are an adult, it's your responsibility, right? And stop trying to prove everybody wrong. She or he is the problem. The other thing is, I said that the other day, when you're doing a lot of pointing, it's her or it's him, you're the problem. Okay? So I just wanted to come on and share a little bit about that because, you know, wow. And like I said, that wasn't that wasn't a fun stage of my life. And so I truly understand. Before I was married, I was also in an abusive relationship, and I get it. But I also had to make a decision, right? And it wasn't, I don't think any breakup or any decision when you choose yourself is as easy as we want it to be. It's really not. But I think when we get to a stage in our life that I deserve more, and it's not always deserving somebody else, that's somebody else, you deserve you. You deserve to find out who you really are. Like, what do I want? I know there's more to life, and I'm not certain what that looks like, but there's more to life. That's what I know I did. And working in those homes overseas for domestic violence homes, abusive shelters for women, not the man, for women and their children. Oh my goodness, these stories I heard and the things they had to experience. And it's always love behind it, or fear. Remember, if you're in Bermuda, call Center Against Abuse because they have the resources. Okay? I just wanted to share that. And all of you around the world, they have every hotline available to you. And they do work. And if you have to flee and go to a shelter, and the two I worked in, when you really were a shelter, the two I worked in were beautiful, laid out beautifully. Were like nice condominiums, both of them, and gated communities. You see what I mean? So you can get that help. You just have to take that first step. Just take the first step. Today, I implore you to just take the first step. Make that call. Even if it's a Center Against Abuse, I know they have a hotline, so you can call it as well in Bermuda. Call and just have the conversation. You will be surprised how you feel when you just say, I'm in an abusive relationship, or I'm not sure what this is, but he or she often does this. And you'd be surprised how much weight you relieve off your shoulders. Okay, guys, I'm Tina Laws, your relationship rescue consultant. And part of why we're relationship rescue consultant came in is because I've done a bit of everything, thankfully. But I do more of my coaching now and consulting and mediation because I really, really enjoy it. Domestic violence is very heavy especially when you can't remove somebody out of that situation. It became very, very, very heavy for me. And these last 2 weeks has been very heavy and trying, but I'm just thankful that even if it's just a telephone call, just to release some of how you're feeling, I'm here. Okay, but Center Against Abuse is the charity for you. And I believe Women's Resource Center as well now have the resources to refer you to whomever's necessary for your needs. Okay, guys? So remember, domestic violence is no fun for nobody. Nobody chooses it. They are not stupid for staying. They aren't, you're tired of hearing it because they deserve it. They want it. It's all false. They just want to find a way to get out, and they don't know how sometimes. Okay, so just be that ear or refer them to someone. Go with them to Center Against Abuse if you like to sit down with them to be their support. But reach out and get them help. Just be that support. Okay, guys? All right. Talk soon. Have a great weekend. And please be safe.